What I have to tell you is I may have changed my mind about Trump.
What?
Do you want this to be real or not?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I feel now like he might be bad for our country.
Oh, you're an idiot! What I say?
This SNL sketch where a suburban mom has to admit to her kids that she may or may not have regrets about voting for Trump aired on January 31st, 2025. Only an hour later, a county in North Texas that voted for Trump only 88 days before voted in a Democrat as their new senator. For a moment, it seemed that hell froze over. Well, the weekend before, Texas actually did have a freeze, so I guess literally and literally, yes. Midterm elections are coming up in 9 months. If the Republicans lost a major Texas district only 3 months later, who knows what's to come? Political pollers and data aggregates alike want to predict what will happen in the next election. Political victory is starting to look a little bit different nowadays. Whether you actually win or lose at the polls doesn't matter, but rather if who you are in the world that you want to build actually resonates with the public. We'll get into it more a bit later, but just know that the public and the voters aren't the same group anymore. Let's talk about electioneering and the value of a vote. My name is Ellie Davis, and this is Data Darling. Over 10 U.S. presidential elections held between 1948 and 1984, no candidate received more than 55% of the vote. Clearly, the American people have been split for quite some time. At 55%, you really might as well just flip a coin before walking into the voting booth. Maybe that's why there's an underlying belief with voters today that their vote really doesn't matter at all. Whether you do or do not feel like your vote matters overall pales in the shadow of how much your opinion matters. The Facebook algorithm has been called out for incentivizing political content that, for lack of better words, really gets the people going. More views, more likes, and more money from ad dollars. The person next to you at the polls may have been more influenced by a tweet than by a political speech while deciding on who to vote for. So if a hit tweet can change a vote, then shouldn't that world-changing vote get you some money back? That's what the Commodity Futures Trading Commission argues will happen if prediction market Kalshi continues to allow users to enter so-called congressional control contracts. Kalshi is the hottest new prediction market, where wanna bet becomes universal. Here are a few bets that Kalshi is running right now. Who will Trump nominate as the next Fed chair? Whether inflation in January will be above or below 2.4%. How many launches will SpaceX have in February? Who will win season 4 of The Traitors? And many, many more. What do you think can finally make you a millionaire? When these bets include political futures, the Feds have to step in. Since Kalshi's 2021 launch, they have been sending letters and lawsuits back and forth with the CFTC nonstop. It used to be illegal to bet on elections. Fun fact, the phrase antitrust really used to mean something. CFTC Regulation 40.11 prohibited any entities from trading on contracts that include terrorism, assassination, war, or any event that is unlawful under state or federal law. The CFTC believes that if unchecked, Kalshi will incentivize markets to spread misinformation to influence a certain party or politician's success. Kalshi argues that they're no different than other commission-regulated contracts that are created via reliable information sources. Those commission-regulated futures that Kalshi is referring to include data about crop forecast or federal economic patterns, whereas a Kalshi political vote is based on opinion voting, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, vibes. But there, what you say matters. The contracts are binary, so a simple no means you win nothing, but just one yes could have you lining your pockets in hours. We've been trained in this loop for over a decade. The world happens, react, and get rewarded. First with engagement, now with profit. A vote, on the other hand, a vote isn't a quick bet. It's a long-term hold. And sometimes you watch the market dip for 2 weeks knowing everything you believe in is being controlled by these people. Still, you hold everything and wait. Sometimes you keep holding, and sometimes you dump everything and pivot industries. Since the creation of the citizen, patience and belief have been the backbone of democracy and the vote. We're notoriously less patient now, and a US presidential campaign cycle has stretched out to upwards of 445 days before the actual day. So, with a stretched timeline and an unfocused public, the best you can do is hope that your candidate is electable by the time the election actually rolls around. In Emily Kubin and Christian von Sikorsky's paper on social media's effect on political polarization, they highlight the feedback loop that politicians who post content regularly to social media may slip into. Getting the message out there is always wanted by politicians, but now that you can make money from the post, whether you get into or even stay in office long, allows the digital brand of the politician to be worth more than all the hassle of campaigning. When a politician posts to social media, they get a voter, a follower, and a fan all in one. Either way you shake it, there's money in talking politics, recklessly or not. So which is worth more, the vote or the bet? Ask that question in a Texas county with no power, and the answer is obvious. The bet can't keep you warm. The prediction market can't fix your energy grid. When reality hits, governance matters, and the vote is the only tool that delivers it. But ask that question to a political influencer with 1 million followers, a Kalshi account, and no intention of running to office. Suddenly you get a different answer. They've already cashed out. They've already won. The public and the voters aren't the same group anymore. And until we decide which one we want to be, democracy will keep getting priced like a commodity, where value only exists if people are still willing to bet on it. Thank you for listening to today's episode. My name is Ellie Davis, and remember, when in doubt, follow the data.
Imagine this. Election day is approaching. Ultra-rich Americans and huge corporations bet billions of dollars on the outcome of which party controls the House of Representatives, or bet those same billions on who controls the U.S. Senate. But as the election approaches, it's 45 days out, it's 30 days out, and 1 or 2 races might make the difference on whether they win or lose that bet. They now have a huge incentive to spend another vast sum smearing the candidate they want to lose. They now have a vast incentive to spread disinformation to get the outcome that they have wagered millions of dollars on or billions of dollars on. That is a profound corruption of our democracy. And I'm sure you're thinking, that could never happen here in America. That is not government by and for the people. That is not elections as a way of choosing who will best lead us forward or cast the votes consistent with our principles. That is instead just turning election into a casino